Welcome to Sinister Cinema Reviews. I'm your host, Jason Smith. Let's get going. Lance Preston, man, he's so wonderfully phony in this. I just adore the character. So, let's talk about the Grave Encounters films. There's only two of them, so this will be a quick one. But this was a film that my buddies and I threw on one night. It was on Netflix. We threw it on. I heard nothing about it, and they were talking, and I was getting really annoyed because I was trying to watch it, and no one was paying attention to it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everyone started to slowly quiet down. Like one person would get sucked into it, then another person, and then about 20-30 minutes in, especially I think right around the point, spoilers obviously, I think right around the point when they break through the door and there's nothing on the other side but more hallway that they think would be the front door, which is a fantastic scene and concept. Everyone shut the fuck up. And then once that first chick is seen and she turns around and she's like, and her face is like, even though it's a CGI effect, it's a very effective CGI effect, in my opinion, obviously. This is my fucking opinion. It's my goddamn show. So, let's talk about the film. Now, this happens to be a really weird coincidence because I had watched a movie called What Keeps You Alive last night. And right after I watched that, I had a really hard urge to watch this. Now, to be fair, I've wanted to watch this for weeks now. And I finally pulled the trigger on it last night. And when I was watching it, I was looking up stuff to try to, get some trivia or get some fun little facts or whatever to kind of help me with my review. And I noticed that the guy who directed this is one of the guys, one of the guys who directed this is the guy who directed What Keeps You Alive. Just completely random, did not know that at all. Maybe it was the style of the whatever. I think it's a total coincidence, to be completely honest, but it was weird when I looked at it. I was like, wait, what? This is the guy who directed the movie I just watched? And then I ended up watching The Purge television series first episode, and the star of that was the star of What Keeps You Alive, which I did not know. So another big coincidence there. Gene Pool's a little shallow there in the horror department, I suppose. I also think that this is one of the best found footage movies there is. And the reason that I like this movie so much, and I would also like to recommend the movie The Monster Project if you dug this movie, is because they just went for it. They just went all out. They didn't fucking show us nothing and keep it all to what's around that corner, and then they scream and run and we never see anything. No way. This movie's picking shit up, it's throwing people, it's hanging people, it's pulling their hair up, it's writing shit on their back, ghosts are appearing right and left, and it never gets old to me. It never git tiring. It just is super fun. It goes for broke. It shows you everything for the most part. I mean, it builds atmosphere and tension before it starts, throwing everything it can, including the kitchen sink. But I just think that was so well done on that part, and I really like performances from the majority of the cast here, with Lance Preston being probably my favorite just because he very much embodies that really fake host of one of these kinds of shows. And then the guy Mackenzie Gray, or I think maybe I'm mixing his name up with the movie versus his real name in real life. Mackenzie's his real name. In this movie, I wrote it down in here, Houston Gray. Okay, so his last name's something else. No, it's the same. That's right. They use the same last name for this guy, Houston Gray, Mackenzie Gray. Okay, that's why I'm confusing it. That guy's went off to have a pretty damn good career. I remember seeing him in Man of Steel and being like, holy shit! That's the dude from Grave Encounters. And I've seen him a ton since then, but I think that was the first time I picked him out and being like, oh, Grave Encounters guy, I know it is. I know it. It's Houston. And of course somebody had to say, Houston, there is a problem. It's close. It's very close to the Houston, we have a problem, Apollo 13 line, but somebody had to utter it. They're a little off on there, but that's all right. Also Sasha, because she's fucking adorable. But I like her character as well, outside of being hot. So they go to this place, and they're gonna lock themselves into this asylum. It's this reality TV show that they go around and they try to find haunted shit, which is total bullshit. I'm sorry, those shows are so fake. And that's the way they play this off. This is kind of like they're going in there. They don't believe in any of it. They're paying people to say that they saw things, and Houston and everyone's just acting. As soon as the cameras go off, they're like laughing. They're like, "Oh my god, this is so stupid." And here's the thing, and this is what I always find funny about paranormal investigators or people who go searching for these kinds of things. For the most part, I'm not speaking to everybody because I'm sure there would be someone who wouldn't do this. But for the most part, if you went into a graveyard at night, or if you went into like the Winchester Mansion or the Queen Mary or any of the other, extremely haunted, supposedly haunted locations in the world, it's fun to think you're going to find something and spook yourself out. But as soon as you saw something, especially if it was something wicked, you'd want the fuck out of there so fast. It's kind of like the thrill of parachuting for me. Like, people do it and it's like this big thrill because like, oh my god, for one, it's thrilling, of course, but at the same time, there's this little like, oh my god, what if the chute doesn't open? And it adds to that stuff, but no one doesn't want the chute to open unless they're, trying to commit suicide or something. But it's funny how we have, these desires for a safe thrill, roller coasters and whatnot. And this kind of plays into that territory. People don't play with Ouija boards wanting. I mean, Ouija boards still sell to this day in stores like as a fucking kid's toy. Okay? And everybody who's ever bought one of those, I'm sorry, I don't believe in anything. If you want my feelings on that, you can check out James Randi on YouTube. He's discounted every fucking psychic on earth and every one of those phenomena. Anyway, but that game completely relies on one of you at the table fucking with the little thing. It's hilarious to me. But if that thing started moving on its own, like let's say like you take your hands off of it and it started moving around the table, every single person in that room would jump the fuck up and run out of there. Except for me, I'd probably be like pulling up the board and looking for magnets I would never believe. It would take something substantial to make me believe. And even if I saw something substantial, I would probably think I've lost my mind. That's what I would equate it to. It would be extremely hard to make me a believer of something supernatural. But I just find that funny, and this movie is a perfect example. I mean, the tagline of the film is like, they were looking for something, or I don't know, and then they found it. Like, you don't want to find it, okay? Unless it's a sweet angel spirit or something, kind of like the chick says in Paranormal Activity 2. It's like, well, how do you know it's bad? Like, what if it's mom? Like, yes, there could be ghosts that are good, but I suppose. But yeah, I mean, your brain immediately always goes to, probably because of movies, to the demon side of things, the bad side of things. So if there's a ghost, get the fuck out of the room. Plus, our brains just aren't equipped to deal with it because no one has any actual confirmation that they exist, and I think we're all skeptics for the most part. So anyways, probably one of my favorite parts of this movie is when he goes up to the the caretaker, the gardener, the landscaper. There we go. And he asks him if he's seen anything. He's like, nope. And then he's like, all right, hold on. And he turns the camera off, and then he gives the guy $20, and then they come back and they're like, so have you seen anything weird? And he's like, I saw a ghost over there. It's very scary. Oh my god, that fucking line killed me. The way that guy delivers that line, amazing. And then I find it also funny that was a good take to them. Like, because of how phony their show is, like, Lance is like, remarkable. And it's like, wow. That guy is so clearly paid. That guy is so clearly acting that anybody could see that. But it's so full of shit, they don't even care. Which is what's great about this, because they don't believe in any of this, and then they get proved wrong, which is really fun. So they lock the door, which I think no one but, well, TC definitely doesn't know, but Lance knows for sure. No one else seems to be protesting this. I think TC is the only person that's 100% like was in the dark about this, and he's like, shit, I had stuff out of my van still, whatever. And so they're locked in there for the night till sunrise, which, as we know, never comes. And I love how when like TC has all this stuff happening, Sasha gets her hair pulled up and all this, and then they try to get out of there, and then it like breaks their light and all that, and then they get up and they take a gurney, and TC's like, fucking had it with this shit, I'm out of here, they can sue me, I don't care, I'll damage the property, which I'm totally, at this point, what they've seen and everything, with him being pushed down the stairs and Sasha's hair going up in the air and the doors getting smashed and all that stuff, that would definitely be something where I'd be like, okay, well, no matter what it is, these even if these are pranksters, they just pushed me downstairs. They're going way too far. You could injure me at this point. I have a kid at home, whatever. And TC does have a kid. I'm not just talking about mine. So he's done with this shit. And so he goes and he grabs a gurney, and it is some of, I don't even know why they showed it to us. They could have just made the sounds and had the camera off of him. They're so clearly slowing down before they hit the door to a screeching halt, and then it just barely taps. If you've ever seen the movie Top Secret with Val Kilmer, hilarious movie. How do we know you're not Mel Torme? There's this hilarious scene where the car comes up and it just dings the back of a Pinto, because Pintos, when you used to hit them too hard in the bumpers, they would blow up. That was a big problem with the Ford Pinto. That's why it wasn't made much, and why it's considered the biggest piece of shit. But in that movie, they just tap it and the car explodes. Hilarious scene, but that's what it reminded me of. The gurney goes up and they run at the door really fast and then they slow it down because of, something to do with the production. They probably were in a place where they couldn't hit the doors, so they just had to make it look like they hit the doors. But why even show it when it's so fucking obvious that they're slowing down to not that? You would go, the faster the better, people. The faster the better. And I'm talking about ramming doors here, okay? Not women. Let's see. The exit isn't the exit. I already mentioned this, when they go on the other side of the door and it's just more hallway, and it's basically the thing has been mirrored onto itself. And then they close the doors and it says, whatever the hell it says. The death awaits, maybe, something like that. Death awaits, I think is what it says. Well, on the other side, they confirming in the lock and everything, confirming that it's not like anybody could be playing a trick at this point, outside of disorientation, them going to the wrong place. But the fact that it says the same thing and the chain and all that, it's that right there. I think I don't know. I'd still be a skeptic somehow. I'd be like, well, you guys turned me around and this is a big setup. This is a big joke. I would think it was a practical joke until I was dead. But I just love that. I love that freaking when they go through that door, it's like, what the fuck is going on now? And then TC goes and he finds another emergency exit, and on both sides of it says an emergency exit, further going to the whole mirroring thing. And then he sees a roof access. He goes up the stairs and it just leads to a wall up there as opposed to doors. Hey, talking about the Winchester Mansion, they have all sorts of stairwells like that. Too bad that movie wasn't very good, for me anyways. I did not care for the Winchester movie by the Spear brothers. Shame. Another film directed by brothers. This was the Vicious brothers. That was the Spear brothers. Let's see. Sun never rises. So they wake up, it's 8 something. That reminds me of the Blair Witch, which I would guess that that they kind of took that maybe from here. Maybe they borrowed that from here, that the sun never. It's not, of course, the first movie that plays around with time, but it is a found footage movie. It was pretty popularized, and it wasn't that far off timeline wise of Blair Witch when Wingard and them were making it. So I don't know. I have to wonder if they got that idea from there. It's a cool idea. I like it. Because it starts to fuck with your reality. Like, yeah, you're getting trapped in this place, but when the sun doesn't rise, something like that, something that you have since the day you were born, that's the one thing you can depend on, is that sun is coming up. And when it doesn't, oh my God, my brain would freak out. Holy shit. Especially if I knew enough time had passed and I was like, the sun should be up. Okay, they have TV monitors in here that are making it look like it's night outside. You see? The skeptic brain would never stop. And then they find their food is rotting. So it's been so long that even in the ice chests that the food is rotting. The time is so distorted in this. It's never getting light outside, and the food is rotting like it's been in there for a week or two. With no ice. That's great too. I love that. And then they wake up with ID bracelets like they're part of the mental institution. Freaking awesome. That's so smart. Such fun little stuff in here. I adore that. They write hello on Sasha's back, carve it into her back. Oh man. At what point would I give in? I don't know. Then they find their friend in a hospital gown, and he's acting like he's been lobotomized to the point where he kills himself on camera by jumping down an open elevator shaft, which is really sad, actually. The arms reaching through the ceiling when they're trying to run out of the room looks a little too cheesy. I think the CGI right there kind of hurt them, as opposed to the CGI that actually enhanced the faces. I like the face CGI, but not the arms coming down. I thought that was really silly. The bathtub scene where TC gets taken, great idea. Okay, so the blood's in there. The lobotomized friend goes over because he's the only one that would, and then TC comes over to get him, and then they pull him into the tub. And when he falls into the tub, they go to look for him, and he's missing. Like, he disappeared into this tub of blood, and when they knock it over, there's nothing inside. Fantastic concept. Absolutely. Poorly executed. The reason it's poorly executed is they could have done a couple different things here. For one, it was horribly telegraphed. TC keeps looking back, and he stops, and he's waiting for his cues, and he looks back. Bad. That was just outright bad. They should have reshot that. TC should have never looked back at them. He could have maybe looked back once, but it's so telegraphed that something's about to happen there. In addition to that, we should have seen him fall into the water and then had the camera still on it, and then them go up, stick their hands in, and try to find him and go, what the fuck? And then kick the thing over and then watch the blood fall out and nothing inside. That would have made for an incredible visual. They could have easily done it with really simple camera tricks. And I think it was a really missed opportunity. Because it's a great idea, but just poorly executed. So I didn't care for that. And it sucks because, as I said, it could have been great. But still, the concept was cool enough that I like it. And what else? I was going to say something else there about that. Fuck. No. I think I lost it. Shit. Oh well. So then Sasha disappears in the fog, which is kind of cool. Video distortion. There it is. I've said this in every found footage film I've ever reviewed, and I will say it again here. Fucking video, electrical interference, distortion, whatever, is cop out bullshit. Cop out bullshit. Okay? Don't do that. When you're replacing, showing what's happening, like as soon as something comes in the room, it's and it's cutting and it's no, that is fucking cop out bullshit. Don't you dare do that. That is nonsense, and I hate it. It is such an easy way to be like, oh, well, we're kind of showing it, but we're not. And it's just a smart way to get around actually having to show anything. No, don't fucking show anything if you don't want to show anything, but don't cheap out like that. I hate it. I fucking hate it. And it is in every single fucking found footage film. And don't give me this whole, well, it's a supernatural phenomena, so the electricity in the air or the electromagnet, fuck off. It's cop-out bullshit. All right? I will hear nothing else on the matter. I'm going to be that guy out there with the fucking cup. you know, video distortion in film is bullshit. Changed my mind. Got me angry. So Lance kills a rat, boom, to eat him. He's went primitive at this point because Lance is not giving up. He's like, fuck you guys. You're not getting the best of me. It ain't happening. And then he goes and he gets his ass, what we would perceive as lobotomized, but I can't remember. Spoilers for the second film in case you haven't seen it. But he is in the second film. They find him. He's like been living in the whatever. He's got like a beard and all this shit. I'm really looking forward to going and rewatching it right now, actually. But I like that he's never given up. But I can't remember in the second film if he's actually lobotomized. I know at the end of this one, it seems like he's acting lobotomized because that's the plan. Because that's the only way they can leave is if they've been properly lobotomized. I think there could be a theory, if you really wanted to, that they are mental patients there at the hospital the entire time. The sequel kind of rules that out, but if you look at this as a standalone kind of thing, I think it could be argued because as the film goes on, they get the bracelets, they get the gowns, they get lobotomized. Like they couldn't be hallucinating or whatever back in the day because they wouldn't know anything about reality TV and video cameras like that and mini DVs and stuff like that. It'd have to be modern times, and it'd have to be a collective delusion, or it'd have to just be Lance's delusion, which would make sense. I think making it one person, the final survivor, this is Lance's delusion, and he's actually just a mental patient in that hospital. I think that definitely makes sense, and maybe like the people he's seeing around the hospital are like guards or orderlies or whatever. It's possible, and he can't escape and all that stuff. So I think it's a possible delusion, but as I said, with the sequel, it kind of rules that theory out. But yeah, what do you guys think? You big Grave Encounters fans? I know a lot of people hate the sequel. I don't remember it well enough to speak on that matter, but I will report back very soon. So until then, adios.